Hello, Rebound here. Water sources dictated that I either do 9 yesterday and go all the way down to hell to get water and all the way back up and have it be a short day, or I could hike another 9 to the next shelter and only have to go halfway to hell to get to the water. So I was halfway hoping that a spring that said it was unreliable would be flowing and then I could find a stealth spot, but that spring was dry. So I ended up going to the shelter and we got several pretty good downpours before I got there. So my backpack was wet, my rain gear was wet, my shoes and socks were wet, my clothes were damp, and my tent was saturated, so I really had no choice but to sleep in the shelter. And that is never fun for me. I think I hear it starting to rain. So I'm gonna have to cut this short and finish it later. I gotta get my rain gear on. Right about the time I got my wet rain gear on, it pretty much stopped, which is the rule rather than the exception. And since I put on a wet rain jacket, my clothes are going to be damp. Why do I put on a rain jacket if I know I'm just going to get wet anyway? Because it prevents me from getting drippy, saturated. My clothes will be wet, but they won't just be absolutely saturated. It also keeps me warm because often, even in summer, the rain can be cold, especially in this interim period where we're just hitting spring and it's not summer. I need to address something. Let me first tell you that I'm not in the greatest of moods. I need to address something that probably doesn't even apply to most of you, but maybe someone will wade on into my channel and see it. It's not okay to smoke cigarettes or weed in the shelter. That is not okay. It's rude. And while it might be legal in this state, I don't know the rules. I feel fairly sure that there is some rule in place that you can't do it in public, like you can't drink in public, or on the street anyway. I don't know if they think that the rules don't apply out here, but even if you're in your tent and you're 50 yards away from me maybe, I can still smell it. I'm still having to breathe it. And it doesn't make other hikers think kindly of you, because everybody out here doesn't smoke weed. You have the right to do whatever you want to do if it's legal, but it's not right to force everyone else to have to breathe in your stinky smoke. Whether it's weed or whether it's regular cigarettes. That's just rude. It's like people have a cow if you're wearing perfume because they might be allergic to it. What about smoke? You can't smoke in a restaurant anymore. Last night was not a pleasant night for me. Amazingly, I did sleep fairly well. We got rain in the forecast today. I think I said everything I own is damp. My tent is saturated. There's so much more that goes into this that you all don't know. I can't tell you. And even if I did, you probably wouldn't understand it. In the shelter, you hang up your backpack. Everything you own is in your backpack. There's no place to spread it out because you got people right next to you. So every time I wanted to get something in my backpack, I've got a trash compactor bag to keep all the dry stuff dry unless you put something damp in there. So I had to pull out the bag with my wet tent out every time. I had to get something in there. So your hands get all dirty and wet. Wherever you set that bag down, it's leaking. So you can't sit there to get off the shelter. The shelter I had to practically jump off of because it was pretty high. So I had to climb up in there on a wet spot. My socks and shoes were wet. I had to put on wet camp shoes. And it's such a mess. And it's such a downer. It really drags you down. I can't even tell you how bad it is. You're just uncomfortable. You stink. You're damp. It's just not a good thing. So whenever I tell you that my tent is saturated and it's going to rain today, or it has rained, maybe you can understand a little bit more how miserable it is. And when it rains for days on end, we've had 3, maybe 4 days of rain, and there's no end in sight. It looks like for the next week we're going to have chances of rain. Of course, the weathermen don't know. It changes so often, you never know what's going to happen. However, when I was on the trail in 2018, it rained like this through Virginia, probably because I was there in the spring, and we need the rain. We need the rain for the springs and the water sources and the plants. So that is my whining for today. My plan is to do, I think it's about 14 something, to the next shelter, just in case I have to sleep in it. The sun comes out, I can dry out my tent, but I don't know how much of a chance there is. So my foot did pretty darn well. I did 18.9 yesterday. My math was wrong. And my foot was suffering towards the end. But today, amazingly, it feels pretty good. I really don't want to push it. I did not want to push an 18 this soon. However, I really didn't feel like I had much choice. So, what else? Sweet Potato and I are still playing text tag. I've never actually seen her, even though we're sort of leapfrogging, because either I've stayed in a hostel or she stayed in the hostel. She pushed on to Weary Feet last night. I thought I might catch her at the shelter, and somebody said she was there for 2 hours. I don't expect her to wait on me. We are both very strong, independent, unafraid women. And I understand that her plans change all day long, just like mine do. So I'm not sure that is going to work, or if I'll ever catch up to her. It's possible I might pass her because she is going to stay elsewhere, and I don't think I am going to stop. So I have hopes in the back of my mind that I might be able to catch up with Rabbit. I don't know what her mileage is like, but she's several hundred miles ahead. But she has gone home for zeros in between her sections because it's so close to her home. So I guess I'm just rambling. I also have to say that the people smoking the weed and the cigarettes, they're very nice. Most of the hikers out here are very nice. And the one that was smoking the cigarette was on the edge of the shelter. And he did ask, "Is my cigarette smoke bothering you?" I said, "Yeah, kind of." And so he moved off to the picnic table, which wasn't that far away and was better. So I don't hold any ill will toward anyone out here. It is an opportunity for me to meet all kinds of different people. I'm not proselytizing out here, but maybe if I can just share the love of Jesus to someone who has never experienced it in a real way, maybe it might make them think or open a conversation. Because I know there are a lot of hurting people out here, people looking for something, people trying to find themselves. So this is just my rambling thoughts, and I know my phone is all over the place. My arm is getting tired again, so I'm going to put it away. I just went 0.3 miles out of my way to go to Trent's Grocery, where they have a little bit of everything, including guns and ammo. But my point in going there was to get a burger. Got a burger and fries, even though they nuked it. The burger patties, they cooked the fries fresh. It was only $7.99, and then I made this stupid mistake of getting a Nutty Buddy. I never buy that stuff. But the Nutty Buddy was $4.03. I had no idea they were that expensive. Anyway, I'm not used to knowing what the current prices on junk is, so I was quite shocked at that, and I think I'm going to be more careful. Yesterday, when I stopped at the Brushy Outpost, my snacks and my pack of ramen was more than the burger cost. So I was able to sit at a picnic table and dry my tent out on a fence, and it feels so good to know that I have a dry tent, and as long as I can get it all set up before it starts raining, I should be good to go for tonight. The lady at the store said the rain is supposed to start about 4, but who knows? Nobody knows. Only God knows. So the world is looking just a bit brighter right now. Got a dry tent, got a full belly, and I'm ready to go. My foot is doing decently. So at this moment, all is right in the world. Hello. I am amending my plans a bit. I had planned on staying at Wapiti Shelter, but I was reading in the comments that there was a murder there. I want to say 96, but I'm not sure. It was a while ago, long time ago. And the guy who did it apparently shot them in the head, 2 people. He got a 30-year sentence and only served 15, was released, and then he went and shot another couple of people. I don't think one of them died, but the other lived but died from complications. And it just feels kind of creepy to stay there, and I just don't want to. Plus, there was a note that the mice had overrun the privy. The last privy at the last shelter was disgusting. I need to talk to you about the different kinds of privies out here, but this one was more like an outhouse where there was no ventilation. It was just a closed room. You had to prop open the door in order to see anything there. And they had put a metal toilet seat on an outdoor privy. Can you imagine? Yes, it was cold. So, my foot is bothering me. Not bad. It's not as bad as it was in Damascus. Not as bad as the day I walked out of the Marianne. But it's bothering me more than it has since it started feeling better. So I saw in far out, before I get to the Wapiti shelter, I don't know, maybe a couple of miles, there is supposedly a pond with a lot of great camping sites around it. So I'm going to get there, and if it looks good, I'm going to set up there, because one thing's for sure, I want to set up before the rain starts, if it starts. So that is my plan for now. I reserve the right to change them because the situation is ever changing on this trail. So that is it for now. This is Rebound signing out. Hello, Rebound here. Well, my plans did change. I ended up going about 2.5 miles past the shelter, up a hill, to a stealth site. I passed someone who looked like the mugshot I had seen online. So I just wanted to get as far away from that shelter as I could. It was probably nothing, but I just did not feel good in that area. I got my tent set up, I ate, I hung my bear bag, and there was only just a little bit of sprinkling, no real rain. Thank goodness. I'm glad, because I heard it thundering off in the distance and it was looking pretty bad over that way. So the plan is tomorrow to go into Woods Hole Hostel. I've always been curious about it, and the weather is supposed to be bad tomorrow and the next day. So I think I've got maybe 4 miles into Woods Hole. I think it will do my foot good to have that short day after these 3 longish days. And then I will hike about 10.5 into Pearisburg, where I'll stay at the Angel's Rest Hostel. And it also looks like I might be seeing Sweet Potato at Woods Hole tomorrow. So that will be a nice reunion, and I'm looking forward to seeing her, looking forward to the food. I'm going to have dinner there tomorrow night, and supposedly they grow all of their food, so it's all farm fresh, and I'm very much looking forward to that. So until next time, this is Rebound signing out. I also wanted to say that I did 16.9 miles today. Again, not planned. I really didn't want to do this many. It would have been around 14 if I had stopped at the shelter. But as often happens on the AT, situations dictate that you sometimes do more miles or less than you really want to. So my foot was hurting towards the end. I'm thinking that the rest that I'm going to get the next few days. The shorter days will do it some good. So this is Rebound signing out.